Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I'll introduce to our participants Dr. Naveen Sharma, who is BNYS from SDM, MSc and PGD TDM. And he is currently working in the naturopathic counselor at Yo1 Wellness USA and former chief medical officer at Balaji Niropadam Delhi, having the 15 years of clinical experience. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in this virtual platform with all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Babit, for inviting me for this wonderful opportunity.
So we can start the session. We are 5 minutes late. Sorry for that, but we can start the session.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
It's different timings for you, sir. It's 9 hours different. So that's
Yeah, my morning 8 a.m. That's fine.
thank you so much, sir, for cooperating with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Ahmed. So, hi everyone. Uh, the I have invited for the topic how to grow as a clinician and uh, what should be your approach being a clinical practitioner. So my experience says that one should always focus on physiological based, because all naturopathy treatments are based on the physiological effect. If your physiology is strong, if you know the normal physiology of the organ or body, you can treat the patient in better way. One thing. The second thing is you need to have a patience to listen the patient properly. Third thing I would say, when we start the practice in the beginning, we always believe that know, we know that we know everything. So I would say first your strong should be like physiology should be very strong enough to understand.
So you can continue the session. I'll admit the doctor. You can continue the session.
Hello.
So you can continue the session, sir.
Okay. Okay. So first is the physiology, then you should know the pathophysiology of the disease. Then you must correlate your treatments with your physiological effects. That's very, very important. Then comes to the practice. When you start the practice and we have any right where we fail, where generally the clinical practitioners or doctors fail, where the area where we fail actually. When you write the treatment for the patients and you just send off them for the treatment, and when you don't supervise the treatment, there basically our treatments fails, because the therapist which we are giving the treatments, they don't know the exact the procedure, the right way, and the importance of the temperature of any treatments, or the maybe the direction of the massage. So initially it's very, very important to uh, observe and visit the guest when the treatment is going on. So if you do that, you can guide your therapist in better way and get the maximum benefit of the treatments. The other thing which I see in our graduates and when we come out of the college, so they basically they when they come out of the college, they do not practice, or they do not stick to our basic principles, or they could not correlate the scientific basis of the basic principle of naturopathy. The most of the practice who is practicing in the clinical nowadays, maximum follows the Ayurveda principles. They start giving the herbs, they start giving uh, different kind of herbs which generally the Ayurveda people uses, or they start practicing the Ayurveda practices like Nadi Parikshan or something like that. So those things, I believe that that's against our system. If you are very, you should have a faith in your system first. You should be convinced with your philosophy and principles. That's how you can grow in your clinical practice. And the clinical practice is always is based on your belief and principle. If you yourself does not have a trust or faith in your system, how you can convince your patient, or how can you convince your guest to follow yourself? So you need to give them the convincing, basically convincing thoughts to follow yourself. You need to explain them exactly what happens in which condition and how you can treat them and what will be the benefit of it. Generally, what happens, we start focusing on the, like in the allopathy the people follow, pill for every pill. We start giving the treatments like basically on the symptomatic basis. This is required. Symptomatic based treatment is required, but you need to explain them the exactly what they should follow when they go back home. And continuous follow-up is very, very required. If you don't follow after they leave you, you'll not be able to success in your aim. So my belief and my trust is that if I follow my guests or patients, they always return to me. Why? Because I'm keep them following, and I'm keep them guiding on the continuous basis. So that's a very, very important thing to grow as a clinician or practitioner. Other thing is like you need to be very updated on the day-to-day basis. Like nowadays in the Western countries, the intermittent fasting is on boom. Everybody wants to know about the intermittent fasting. Everybody wants to talk about the intermittent fasting. So, like for us, intermittent fasting is not new. We are reading since long time. We are studying, and we know in Indian cultures, the intermittent fasting was always is supported by the facts and even the Vedas. So here the people, when they do intermittent fasting, what they say, and we also sometimes our graduates also believes that 16-8, like as example, like they say 16-8 hour fasting. So they eat 8 hours window and they fast for the 16 hours. But exactly, if you know that the 16-hour fast, actually we are doing only the 4 or 5 hours fasting in the 16 hours basis. As we all know, according to the physiology or the things, when you finish your last meal by 7 o'clock, so morning 7, you will be in the metabolic phase, not in the fasting phase. Fasting will start from morning 7 a.m. to 12 noon. So that's basically 5 hour fasting only we did it. So we need to explain these facts to the guest or patients. Other thing I would say, the most important thing is that while study the biochemistry and the physiology, two tools, you must be very thorough with it. Suppose like if I ask like, or say, what is the right way to have carrot in your salad? How you can improve the absorption of vitamin A in your body? Very, 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 very small thing, but we all miss this when we suggest to the guest. As we all know, vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin, right? So when you eat this, you need a fat with it. If you eat one just few drops of oil or ghee or butter in it, you can maximize the absorption of vitamin A in your body. The same way, the sprouts, when we eat, we say you get all vitamin, and vitamin E is rich in sprouts. Again, if you eat just right like that, maybe vitamin E absorption will not be much sufficient. So you need to add the oil or the ghee or butter on it. So improvise or maximize the absorption of vitamin E. So these very small things, like especially I would say the nutrition part, the vitamin and minerals part, we should be very thorough with it. The deficiencies and the sources and the how it can be absorbed. And another thing I would say, we should know the drug interaction between the nutritions. What drug hamper the nutrition absorptions? Which nutrition? So if you know the drug interaction between the uh, nutrition and the drug, then you'll be better. You will be able to explain the guest or patient better way. This thing is very, very important when you practice clinically. You should be very, very updated with the medicines which are coming in the market. You should be knowing their side effects. You should be knowing the effects and side effects both. So you should be able to explain the guest or patient what is the side effect of those medicine which you're taking it, and how you're going to wean off them or trap them, and how you can prevent those side effects. So we should be knowing the medicines, the benefits and side effects, but we should not be prescribing them. And another thing is, like, in the clinical practice, I've seen that always like whatever junior worked with me, I saw they always just write, just like that. They write some treatment which whatever they learn in their internship. They write the hip bath or just massage or impact just to give them the treatment. No, you should correlate your symptoms, your disease, and what you want to achieve. You should be very clear about it. What you want to achieve in your treatment, what you're going to achieve. Other thing I would say, the physiology of water we must be knowing while prescribing the therapies. What if you give the cold, what will happen, what could be the reaction, and what would be the end results. And if you're giving the hot, you should be aware of it. So we generally miss this thing in the clinical practices. We just like that, right? Okay, jacuzzi bath, but you don't know the temperature, what temperature you're going to prescribe it, at what temperature you want to give it. So your therapist must have the water thermometer. You should write the temperature of the water, what you want to give them. Then you can achieve the right or exact benefit or results in your therapy. And you will not believe that it is very, very effective. I have practiced in my clinical practice since beginning I started, and I think that was the reason my practice, and I am stick to my clinical practice. There's a lot of areas are there where you can go, but it is important before you entering into the practical practice or the practical world. You must decide what you want to do it in your life. You want to practice as a clinician is very, very tough and very struggling. But if you have a faith, you can proceed. You can success in your life. If you have a doubt as a clinician, you want to clinician or not, then it's very tough. So you need to be clear before you start any practice. Even sometimes people say when you practice in the resorts or wellness center, you cannot practice as like clinician. But I believe that no, this is not true. You can be as a clinician when you're practicing in the resort also. So that's you, how you can guide or how you can convince your guest to become your patient or your guest for forever. That's depend on you all. So here I will end, and if you have any questions, please go ahead. So I'll be more comfortable if you're asking a question.
So anyone can unmute themselves and ask questions. Vidyaram is having a question. You can ask, unmute Vidyaram, Deepika, anyone.
Because guys, I'm not very frequent speaker, and so I don't know.
No, sir, it was
So
very good.
so many people stand.
So anyone is there so who would like to ask question from the side?
How many of you want to be a clinician?
Yeah, that you can write in chat box also. Yes or no, you can write. Yes, they are responding, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Want to, but they do not have any question.
And how many of you want to be researcher? So I can see here like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
They have raised the hand, so if they want to ask questions, they can unmute themselves and they can ask. We have 5 more minutes. The next speaker is waiting for us. So if anyone has any question, please unmute.
So I'll start the good. So Brajesh Kumar Mishra is want to be clinician. Good. So good. Any questions, Brajesh?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Brajesh.
इसकी वजह से वो आपने स्प्राउट्स वाली जो बात कही थी कि वो विटामिन ए जो फैट सॉल्युबल विटामिन हैं उन्हें नीड होती है फैट की एब्जॉर्ब होने के लिए,
जी
तो मेटाबोलाइज होने के लिए एक्चुअली। तो सर उससे एडिशनल में हम मतलब उसको मेटाबोलाइज करने के लिए फैट अलग से फैट लेना जो आपने बताया वो, और हमारे बॉडी में ऑलरेडी जो फैट मतलब अवेलेबल होते हैं उससे वो कंज्यूम करना, वो दोनों चीज डिफरेंट है या सेम ही है?
नहीं, वो साथ में उसके साथ में जब आप लेंगे तब वो मेटाबोलाइज बेटर होगा। बॉडी के फैट्स हैं दैट्स फाइन, बट टू एब्जॉर्प्शन बेसिकली आपके कहाँ से होता है, उस लेवल पे होना जरूरी है।
ओके सर।
क्या
So one more question was there, which is
नेहा,
better, a researcher or a clinician? From Kriti Mishra.
Bhavit, I'm not able to hear you.
Sir, which is better, a researcher or clinician? From
See,
Kriti Mishra.
both has its own benefits, and because being a both, it's very good. But what happens? What is like? This is my personal opinion about it. The researchers cannot be a good clinician, but yeah, clinician can be a good researcher. Hello. So if somebody wants to like going for the both, I would say start a practice of clinician, then go for the research. That's much better approach, I would say.
Sir,
Because
one more question.
once you are in the research, you are more of theoretical, and that practice basically in the practically, there's sometimes I don't know, it may be I might be wrong, but not able to introduce or implement all the things into the practice. Yes.
Yes, sir. Can I ask?
Yes, please. Just tell your name.
So myself, Brijesh Kumar Mishra.
Yeah, Brijesh.
Sir, I want to ask, as a clinician, after the completing the course of BNYS, ऐसे कौन कौन सी चैलेंजेस आती हैं बाद में जो फेस करना होता है और हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट होता है जो हमें अभी से नोटिस करना हो एज ए क्लिनिशियन आफ्टर?
सबसे बड़ी
अभी
जो प्रॉब्लम आएगी आपके साथ, जो आती है बेसिकली लोगों के साथ में, जब आप अपने चैम्बर में बैठते हैं, तो
यस
पहला चैलेंज होता है कि इतने लोग आपके पास आते हैं ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, उनमें से दे ऑल आर नॉट लुकिंग फॉर एज अ ट्रीटमेंट, राइट? कुछ लोग
ओके
नेचुरोपैथी सेंटर में केवल मौज मस्ती के लिए आते हैं, कुछ लोग जस्ट सिंपल वेलबींग और वेलनेस के लिए आते हैं, उसमें से
यस
कुछ लोग ट्रीटमेंट के लिए आते हैं. सो आउट ऑफ 100 यू से only the 10% people will be looking for the treatments and 90% people will be looking for just, but they have still they have issues, health issues. You need to into the your naturopathy treatments or as a patients or yes things like they should convert into your system, right? So ये सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज होता है. दूसरा जो चैलेंज आजकल मैं देखता हूँ वो ये है कि जब हम चैम्बर में बैठते हैं तो हम समझते हैं कि वी आर बिग डॉक्टर्स. You need to understand the mental status of the patient. Accordingly, we have to treat them, because until unless you reach to the mental status, what the people is happy or not, जो भी आपके पास आ रहा है वो खुश है नहीं है अंदर से, वो समझने के लिए आपको उसको ऑब्जर्व करना पड़ता है. बहुत कीन ऑब्जर्वेशन चाहिए आपको. अगर आपने उस पॉइंट पर मिस कर दिया तो आपका ट्रीटमेंट कोई भी काम नहीं है. यू नॉट एबल टू give any kind of benefits to the patients if they are not treated at the mental level or their mind status. तो ये बहुत जरूरी है ये समझना कि जो पेशेंट आ रहा है आपके पास उसकी प्रॉब्लम केवल जस्ट फिजिकल है या फिर ये रिलेट टू द साइकोलॉजी है, क्योंकि नेचुरोपैथी ट्रीटमेंट्स वर्क्स एट द ऑल लेवल. So you need
यस
to address each and everything. If you're just treating as a symptom wise, just like what okay diabetes hai, okay I'm treating diabetes, so you'll not be able to address the complete issues. So you need to understand each and everything. You have to watch patient very carefully since he or she start walking in your cabin, and every day. So you need to meet every day, at least twice a day, sometimes to the guest. Is it clear, Brajesh?
यस सर थैंक यू सर
Okay.
So next question is from Garima Garg. So what if herbal medicine working well with the patient condition?
1 minute, I'm not able to hear properly.
Yes, sir. So you can read the chat box if you can, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Last question from the Garima Garg.
Yes. So, what herbal medicine, right, Garima?
Yes, sir.
Herbal medicine is working well with the patient condition. Okay. So, what kind of herbal medicine you looking like? See, in our naturopathy syllabus, we generally read about kitchen herbs, right? So, I would prefer if you use the kitchen herbs, is okay, fine. But if you are using like ashwagandha or giloy or gudichi or something like that, they are all completely Ayurveda herbs, Ayurvedic medicines. And I believe that we are not good enough in their the benefits and their characteristics and in which condition we should use it. Generally, what happen, we just see on the net or we start just prescribing them, because we don't have the exact knowledge of Vata, Pitta and Kapha and the Prakriti and Vikriti and which condition we're supposed to give them the combinations. So I believe that if you just use the kitchen herbs is okay, that's perfectly fine, but not other medicines.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
This is my personal opinion.
Okay, sir. And last question from Bhumika Acharya, sir.
Yeah, Bhumika. So, hi, Bhumika.
Good evening, sir. Like, or is it
Yeah.
based on your experience, which method of diagnosis is best, or is it better to combine both yogic and naturopathic diagnostic method?
You have to combine all the method of diagnosis, whatever you know about it. Like you use the medicine, you use the yogic and naturopathy diagnosis, you use the tool of modern medicines also. So you should get the right conclusion of the disease, because you need to understand the correlation between both. You need to correlate the naturopathic diagnosis with the modern diagnosis. Then only you get the best results or best diagnosis. So you'll be able to explain to your patient what modern medicine says and what naturopathy says and how it is correlated with each other. Like I will give you the example when I generally talk about the 5 elements theory. Suppose if I'm talking about the ascites, okay? So ascites is like diagnosed by a physical examination, but when you correlate with your naturopathy things, what it is the excess of water in the body, right? So excess water comes from where? It comes from the earth element, right? The water comes from the earth. So you need to correlate the earth elements. So what are the earth element organ is there in the body? It may be something wrong with the earth element somewhere. So maybe a liver, maybe a heart. Heart is a earth and the water combination, right? Or maybe kidney. So these are the organs which basically causes the ascites, right? So basically in that, out of it, what you see, okay, liver is a closest organ to cause the ascites in your stomach. So you need to correlate your naturopathic diagnosis or naturopathic principles to your modern diagnosis. Then you'll get the good understanding of it. I hope it's clear to you, Bhumika.
She told just simply sticking to the soul of naturopathy principle.
The combination is always good here. It's always combination is good.
Thank you so much, sir, for this the wonderful session we have for half an hour just because of the timings issues.
So last question is from again is Garima's, better to go in the integrative management if we enough knowledge and understanding of it. So I don't think, because I believe in my system. I'm very, very particular about naturopathy and yoga system. See, if it always says people are basically is diverting of themselves to the different system, why you want to capture the other system? That's why, see, what is the problem with us? We are annoyed by when the Ayurveda people start doing yoga, or they start claiming I'm a yoga, or and the yoga belongs to the Ayurveda, right? So if you have 100% faith in your system, that your system is very powerful, then you don't need to take any support from any other system, I would say. But yeah, working with all the systems together, but you are practicing your own system is always good. You can have in your clinic Ayurveda, you can have in your clinic homeopathy, you can have in your clinic the modern medicine, but you should be practicing your own system, only your own system, not everybody's system. Try to put your all the nose in all the systems. No, that's not good at all. I think this is my belief personally. That's I growed in my clinical practice.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bhavit. I'm not very
No problem, sir. It was a very wonderful session, sir. It was a very wonderful session.
thank you everyone to listening me, and I'm very I'm stage fearing person. I never go to the stage and talk. It's very difficult for me to discuss. Yes, anything else? Anybody?
Thank you so much, sir, for the session.
Thank you everyone. Thank you to listening me in this 30 minutes. I think I'm crossed my time.
No, sir, it's okay, sir. So,
Thank you so much, Bhavit. Thank you everyone.
thank you so much, sir.
Have a good evening.